Not gonna lie, I'm starting to understand why Sugimoto is called the Immortal Sugimoto. The facial expression he made when he got stabbed straight through the cheek, I'm like, yo, like, I winced up, because I was just like, it takes certain individual things to kind of make me wince, but that is definitely one of them. See, it's either like nails getting ripped off, or, eyeball, like, poking an eyeball or something, and then just getting poked for the cheek. That was just like, oh my god, like, the man's face, he was just like, did you just do that? Like, he's just like, did you legit just stab me through the cheeks? And I'm just like, my god, this man just does not give a crap. Like, he didn't blink, he didn't show pain, he was just sitting there while, a toothpick was straight through his freaking, his cheeks. I'm just like, my god, like, that's pretty savage. So anyways, this, episode of Golden Kamuy, oh my god, the art and animation was actually a step up. Like, I mean, it's not like 10 out of 10, but it was definitely better than the previous episodes. I don't know if this episode was outsourced, I don't know who worked on it, but this was a pretty quality episode. Like, facial expressions, the characters felt very lively, the exact opposite to that Food Wars episode yesterday, but I mean, just the characters felt so lively. Like, seeing the main female character's facial reaction at the beginning of the episode when she got really upset, I couldn't help but laugh. I was just like, yo, that's a good face, that's just good artwork and stuff and animation. So the art animation, I wanted to take a few moments to mention because it was really good, very impressive this week, and I would love to see more stuff like that. Now anyways, getting on to the main topic at hand, this episode has a certain conflict go on with Sugimoto. He decides that he needs to disconnect from our main female character. He's like, I need to leave, because he wants to keep her safe, keep her healthy and all of that, and so he decided to go on his way, do his own thing. And in the result of him doing this, you have it to where, she's trying to hunt him down throughout this episode, figure out where he's at for she can save him. And he gets into some trouble, because obviously the military and all that, they know that he is searching for the tattoos, the gold and stuff like that, and so they want answers. They want to know where, the treasure is. They want to know where the tattoos that he already has is. And so it leads to a complicated situation where he's held and taken as hostage or kidnapped, and our main female character, she has to go out of her way, and she has to try to save him. Now, obviously, he's unaware of this at the moment, but I mean, she tries to figure out her own way to try to save him. And while she was doing that, can we just talk about how this series is unexpectedly funny? Like, I did not think that this series was going to have a lot of comedy, because I was always hearing that this was more of a, like a serious series about treasure and all that, that's certain little things I've heard throughout the years, and now seeing it for myself, it's, very funny. Like, I some of the humor is very mature, obviously, and dark, but I mean, the humor is definitely, something unexpected but welcome. I really appreciate that. Now, obviously, comedy is subjective. Not everybody's gonna like the comedy in this series, understandable. But I mean, I'm just pretty surprised by it. I just didn't think the series would be this funny. It should definitely be a comedy action series because of just everything I've seen so far. But getting back on topic, though, pretty much some of the moments with her in this episode, she was explaining once again kind of how Ainu culture was, which has been a reoccurring theme throughout these episodes, to where we find out more about their traditions, how they handle certain things, and this episode once again gives us more information. Now, as I've already said many times throughout these reviews, that I love stuff like that. It's something that's like my bread and butter when it comes to any show. Just getting world building like this, it just makes me immersed in it, and especially since it's on iNews and all of that, because, you don't hear about them a lot. So, I mean, it just makes the series even more fascinating personally for me. And so, once again, the beginning of the episode is pretty much spent on just finding out more stuff about their traditions, how, the children entertain themselves, to, certain traditions of how they eat food or offer something when they get a gift. I mean, these little things are just really fascinating, and it really just goes to show the insight of just this culture that the Ainu people really have. But okay, anyways, though, let's talk about the serious stuff towards the end. So Sugimoto, obviously, he gets captured, and the entire moment, the exchange between, like, the commander and all that and him, very tense stuff, and that's actually something that I need to dive into. Now, you know how I was already talking about the comedy and stuff, how this was a very funny episode, and the series is funny? There is something that the series is doing rather well, and it's surprising me. it's able to mesh comedy in serious moments like that, and also keep a very tense vibe when you don't really know how to view it. You don't know if you should view it to where, like, it's not anything serious to something very serious, like the entire moment when Sugimoto is talking to the commander, and before he gets, like, stabbed through the cheek and all that, it's a very tense moment. You don't know what the man is going to do. I mean, we saw in the last episode, the man bit off a dude's finger and all that, which was complete savage. So we didn't really know what he was wanting to do in that moment, and it built up the tension of that scene more and more until eventually something finally did happen. And I like how there was a nice blend of comedy to serious stuff throughout this episode. It just had a really nice contrast, and I just want to compliment the team that worked on that. I don't think it would have been as good if it wasn't for the writer of Golden Kamuy, but also the people that worked on this episode, you know, demonstrating that. Because just because the writer does a good job with the comedy and, you know, the serious stuff doesn't mean that the animators will. They might not catch the same tone or vibe with it, so this episode definitely was a step up because of just the way they were able to blend stuff like that. So Sugimoto, he's talking with this man, and he's basically not wanting to fall in line. He doesn't want to join the man. He doesn't want to help him out. He's trying to, you know, pretend that he is not Sugimoto, and eventually he gets locked up. And at the end, as he's tied up and all that in a chair, these two individuals that, you know, Sugimoto kind of messed up at the beginning before he had, you know, was at gunpoint, you know, he's like, you know, I want to make it to where I could tell you two apart, for you guys are not as identical anymore. And so he hits the man, he breaks out of the chair, and, you know, he's getting stabbed in the chest, and he's holding the man's knife and all that, and the episode ends there. I'm like, holy crap, this man is amazing. So, I mean, I now understand why he got his title. I like his character a lot. I mean, he has those moments to where he can be a kind individual that's compassionate, you know, caring about other culture and stuff. You can see how he's already changing because he starts to do their traditions throughout this episode, even when, you know, he's not around the Ainu at all. So, I mean, it shows that he is really starting to become more like them. He's being immersed in their culture, and at the same time, even though he seems like a kind individual, he can shift over real quick and become this killing machine monster. So I do feel like the way this series is going, it might imply that Sugimoto might have one of those moments again, that whatever happened in the war, for instance, how he got his title when he was just going around, you know, savagely ending people. I feel like a scene like that might happen in present time, and maybe, you know, the Ainu might get to see what he does, and they might, you know, be scared of him because of that. That's just my personal opinion, because of the way this series is depicting him right now, with his character contrast from happiness to just very serious one moment from the next. So the wolf, basically, it didn't want to be a pet. It wanted to be with its kind, which makes sense. Wolves are like that, and so our main female character, she had to lose, you know, her wolf friend, you know, while she already lost her father, which was very sad. It's kind of like a hit to the gut, and I'm glad that, you know, the wolf is still around, you know, her and helping her out in the time of need, but he's not living with her, and he's not always next to her because, you know, he has his own things he needs to do as, you know, an animal and all that. So, really cool stuff, very sad. I like that little context to her backstory. I would like more of that. But that's about it when it comes to this week's episode of Golden Kamuy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. Chibi out.